Yeah, welcome to all our friends for joining the webinar. हम लोग एक ही मिनट रुकते हैं. We'll just wait a minute or so. काफ़ी सारे हमारे colleagues जो हैं अभी भी join कर रहे हैं. So in a minute we'll start the webinar. Yeah, I think we can start with the session. Thank you so much to all our friends for taking the time out and having joined the session today. So I'll keep the session a mix of both English and Hindi for the benefit of all our friends who have joined the session today. So today's session is on a very interesting topic. It's regarding balancing your profitability and कितना risk लेना चाहिए एक particular trade में, especially in option trading. जब भी आप index के trading कर रहे हैं, which are the strategies which generally tend to have a high reward? What is the probability associated with each particular trade? How to identify what is the probability जो आप trade ले रहे हो, what is the probability of a winning percentage in that particular trade. कौन से पैरामीटर्स पे आप देख सकते हो if the probability of the trade is high या less, जैसे कि फैक्टर्स लाइक डेल्टा, इम्प्लाइड वॉलेटिलिटी. फिर कौन से स्ट्रैटेजीज को कौन से टाइम पे हम लोग को कंसिडर करना है. ऑल दैट विल बी डिस्कसिंग इन टुडेज सेशन. सो एग्जांपल्स के साथ मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया है कंटेंट को इन अ सिंपल मैनर. And at the end of the session, we'll be having a Q&A. So participants who have any queries regarding the topic will be more than happy to take them at the end of the session. Yeah, so first is to get clarity on the most basic and simple concept of probability. What is the chance? It is in a very simple term that I'll be explaining the concepts so that the idea is very clear to all our friends who have joined the session. So whenever we trade in options, we should know what is the chance of making money in that particular trade. Let us break down the market environment into three particular scenarios. So at any point of time in the market, there are three events which can happen. There is nothing other than that. उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं हो सकता. So the first scenario is we have the markets which are at 24,400. Current अगर spot level देखोगे निफ्टी का, it is at 24,400 levels. There are three scenarios which can play out in the market. One is the trend can continue on the upside. जो index अभी 21,700 से rebound हुआ है towards 24,400. We could see the momentum continue on the upside and inch higher towards 24,800, 25,200. जो लग रहा है कि if the results of some of the large cap companies come, there is a good chance that the index can move towards these particular levels. So that is 33% chance that the momentum can continue on the upside. There is 33% chance that there could be a war-like scenario and there could be external geopolitical pressure. That we have the Fed event also, which is lined up on Thursday. Thursday we'll know the outcome of the Fed, which will be having its first meeting post the tariff announcement. जो tariffs Donald Trump ने announce किया है between the various countries and USA. This will be the first Fed meeting post that. So जो Fed का commentary रहेगा, it will be very keenly watched by the market participants the world over. So that is also a major event which is lined up in the next 2 trading days. So the outcome will come on Wednesday night. Uska impact will be seen in our markets on Thursday's trading session. So if anything adverse comes out over there, or if there is a war-like scenario which actually pans out, there could be a bit of pressure. So there is 33% chance of the index correcting on the downside as well. And there is 33% chance of the markets witnessing a sideways consolidation. Many times what happens is post a sharp surge or a correction, the index goes into a consolidation phase. So that is also a very long period of time. We see that the markets go into a consolidation phase. So there is 33% chance that the markets can consolidate as well. So with each of these three scenarios, whenever you buy a stock also, even though the trend may be positive on that particular day, there is always 33% chance associated with the outcome continuing in your favor. So if you have a bullish view, there is 33% chance that the trend will continue. There is 33% chance there could be a correction, and there is 33% chance that the markets can go into a sideways consolidation. So it is actually 33.33. If we add all of them up, we get a 100% scenario of the three events. So that is the basic understanding. So the main thing is, agar if you buy a call option at any point of time, when you have a bullish view, your probability chance is 33%. Likewise, if the markets are bearish and you buy a put option, your probability of success in that particular scenario is also 33%. And if you sell options, if you sell a call option or a put option, the probability of success is generally twice, because in two scenarios you make money when you sell options, but there is a higher risk associated with it. We'll not go into that part of it, but I'm just telling in terms of probability. When you do option selling, your probability of success is 66% compared to option buying, which has a probability of success of 33%. Why you have 66% when you do option selling is, if the trade goes in your direction, suppose you have sold a call option, when you sell a call option, आपका व्यू जो है मंदी की तरफ है, आपको लग रहा है कि मार्केट इधर से और ऊपर नहीं जाएगा, and there could be a correction on the downside. That's why you sell a call option. When you sell a call option, and if the market actually corrects on the downside or goes into a sideways consolidation, in these two scenarios you will end up making profit. So that's why when you sell options in two scenarios, you end up making money. Likewise, if you sell a put option, if the market continues the trend on the upside or goes into a sideways consolidation, in those two scenarios you will end up making money. So we should have a good understanding of probability of each particular trade, and you have to manage the balance between probability and probability of success. So probability of success and the risk of the particular trade, these are the two things that you have to always manage whenever you're trading in index options. So now going one step forward. So high probability trades usually offer lower rewards. I'll explain what this means. And high reward trades often have lower probability. So what is the meaning of this statement? High probability trades often have lower rewards. What it means is, if you sell far out of the money options, so currently if Nifty is trading at 24,400 levels, if you sell 25,000 call option, which is around 600 points away, which is, there is just 2 days left for expiry, that is tomorrow and Thursday. That is the weekly expiry of Nifty. अगर आपने weekly expiry पे trade किया है, then there is a very high probability that your trade will go correct. But by selling far out of the money options, the premium that you receive also is very minimal. So I'll explain it with an example. When you see the actual option chain and you see the premiums that you will receive, अगर आपने 25,000 का call option आज अगर बेचा रहेगा तो कितना मिलेगा, and what is the risk that you are taking. Likewise, if you buy a trade which is far away, so the trade which has high rewards but will have low probability. So suppose you go ahead and buy the 25,000 call option, there is extremely low probability that in the next two trading sessions that Nifty will surpass 25,000. So that's how it is. It is always a mix of risk and reward. It's never going to be a one directional money making stream in the derivative segment. You have to select strategies. You have to apply your brain at which point of time, which strategy that you have to apply in the market. So what I mean by this is the chart of Nifty. Currently, we are trading close to 24,400 levels. Even though the overall chart structure from a short term looks positive, if you go and buy deep out of the money options, अगर आपने 25,000 का call option buy कर दिया, there is very little probability that you will end up making money. So I'll explain it in the concept of delta as well. All the slides which follow will explain the concept of why it is very tough to make money in when you pay a small premium, why it is difficult to make a huge reward from that. So what is the optimal strike price that you have to select while trading in the market? All this is what I'm going to explain in the slides to come. So currently, if you see, I have highlighted one particular portion on the slide. So currently we are at 24,400 ka level. That is the spot level of Nifty. So that is known as at the money. 24,400 is where we are on the spot level. So if you know that weekly expiries, जो settlement जो होता है, it always happens on the spot price. It never happens on the future price. Even though option premium moves according to the future, the settlement which happens based on the spot price. So you have to track where the spot price is whenever you are buying a particular option. So suppose you went and purchased the 25,000 call option, which may just look 600 points away, but there is extremely very less probability that this particular event will happen in the next 2 trading days. So even if you see the option premium, it is currently priced around 3.8, 3.9. That is the price that you have to pay. Option premium means the price that you have to pay for purchasing that particular strike price. So suppose we round it off to 4 rupees is the option premium. 4 into 75 is what you are going to pay. So 300 rupees you will have to pay to purchase the 25,000 call option. There are many traders who feel that 300 डालने में क्या जाता है, अगर market भाग गया तो there is a lot of profit to be made, but it is a very low probability trade. In terms of delta, we'll understand the concept as well, but I just wanted to highlight that there is extremely low probability that there is that in the next few trading days that the markets may rally. It can always happen. Any major positive trigger for the market, government announces some policy, there can always be a one directional move, but that happens in 1 in 100 trades or 200 trades, and we cannot be risking our capital one over and over again in small premium trades, because we have to manage the probability and we have to manage the risk. Likewise, if agar koi trader rahega who considers selling 25,000 call option, the premium that is going to generate, the maximum profit that he is going to generate also is very less. It is just about 300 rupees for selling an entire contract of 25,000 call option. He has to pay significant margin amount as well ये ट्रेड करने के लिए, that is to sell the 25,000 naked 25,000 call option. आपको सिग्निफिकेंट कैपिटल डिप्लॉय करना पड़ेगा, एंड उसके बाद आपको जो टोटल प्रॉफिट आएगा ये पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड से, दैट इज जस्ट 300 रुपीज. सो even in your selling options you have to have the courage and sell certain closer towards the at the money strike prices. You cannot be selling deep out of the money options and constantly expecting to make money, because there will be few trades which will wipe out your entire 5 to 6 profitable trades. You will have a continuous streak. जो option selling करते हैं, they may have a continuous streak of 5 to 6 trades wherein they capture small premiums and they are able to capture it completely, but one particular move can wipe out all the trades. So they also जो option selling भी करते हैं, you have to have slightly higher courage and conviction and try to sell options which are closer towards at the money rather than selling deep out of the money strike prices. So now coming to the concept of delta. So understanding key delta से how we can measure the probability of a particular trade. So delta जो है, everyone must be knowing the main concept of delta and understanding key, maybe having a very good knowledge that delta is basically telling how a particular option price will move for 1 point movement of the underlying. So the most common conviction regarding delta is अगर निफ्टी 100 पॉइंट से चला जाता है, the at the money strike price का जो डेल्टा है that is generally 0.5, तो 50 पॉइंट से आपका ऑप्शन प्रीमियम ऊपर के डायरेक्शन में चला जाएगा. दैट्स द बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ डेल्टा. Most of the traders who trade in the options market will be having this particular knowledge that delta for at the money options tend to be 0.5, that is both call option and put option. And if the underlying जो निफ्टी है, if the underlying moves by 100 points in your favor, the underlying option also moves by approximately 50 points. But do note that delta is a dynamic variable. उसका constant value 0.5 पे नहीं रहता. As and when the option becomes in the money, delta gradually also keeps on rising on the higher side. This is the basic understanding of delta. But delta can also be used in terms of probability to understand what is the probability of the strike price that you have selected. So अगर आपका delta अगर 0.3 है या 0.5 है, जो स्ट्राइक प्राइस आपने सिलेक्ट किया है, इट ऑल्सो टेल्स यू दी प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ सक्सेस एट द टाइम ऑफ एक्सपायरी. मतलब अगर आपने अभी करंटली, इफ यू टेक, आई विल एक्सप्लेन इट इन द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड एज वेल. तो अगर आपने 24,400 का कॉल ऑप्शन बाय किया है, जिसका डेल्टा लगभग 0.46 था जब मैं ये स्लाइड बना रहा था, it basically means that there is 46% chance that the index will close about 24,400 by Thursday. So that is a decent probability of success. 0.5 to 0.6 is a very good probability. अगर आपने 24,600, 24,700 strike price भी select किया, the probability reduces drastically. So if you take this particular slide and if we see 24,500 call option also, उसका भी probability at present is just 0.25. 0.25 delta means 25% chance Nifty will close above 24,500 by the time expiry comes. So I hope everyone is able to grasp this particular concept of how we apply delta in terms of probability as well. So ये call option के लिए भी applicable है और put option के लिए भी applicable है. More or less, if you know, so you don't have to worry about where you will get the value of delta and all. So more or less at the money का जो strike price रहता है, उसका delta 0.5 के पास रहता है. As and when we select strike prices which are in the money, the delta value keeps on going closer towards 1. And as and when we select strike prices away from at the money basically means निफ्टी का स्पॉट लेवल किधर है या फ्यूचर लेवल किधर है, उधर से आप जो स्ट्राइक प्राइस सिलेक्ट कर रहे हो वो कितना दूर है. So that is what is basically meaning of at the money, out of the money and in the money. It is a very simple understanding. If markets are at 24,400, that is where the at the money strike price is. For call option, if you take the example, first we'll just understand regarding call. So if you select something like 24,200 or 24,000 strike price, that is deep in the money. And if we select something which is 25,000, which is away from the current market price, it is known as out of the money strike price. So even 24,500, which is just 100 points away, has a delta of 0.25. If we select something like a 25,000 strike price, that will be around 0.7 delta, I feel. That will be very less. So we have 24,600, which is at 0.14, that means 14%. And likewise, for every 50 points away, the delta gradually keeps on reducing. So 25,000, I am very much sure the delta will be 0.606, yeah, 0.07, something like that, which basically means there will be 4 to 5% chance that Nifty will move towards 25,000 by the time this expiry comes. I'm saying this weekly expiry. I'm not saying for a longer duration. I'm saying within the next 2 trading days. As and when the duration increases, your delta value will also be on the higher side. Means if there is higher chance of that particular event happening, so lesser the time, lesser the delta value associated or the probability of success associated with it. So this is the same concept which I just explained till now, that you should know the delta of the strike price that you are selecting. And this is basically for if you are holding the trade all the way till expiry. अगर आप short term trading भी कर रहे हो, you should have a clean idea of the delta value, which basically tells you the change or rate of change of option premium for the underlying price. But it also gives you a good understanding in terms of probability of success for the trade that you have taken. So it is always important to consider at the money strike prices. I have a very good representation in the slides to follow, which will explain in terms of risk reward and the quantum of money that you can make by selecting the right strike price. In this particular example, what I basically wanted to highlight is if you select way out of the money strike price, जो extreme left hand side पे है, extreme right hand side, sorry, it is a chart of out of the money. The middle one is the at the money chart, and the left hand side is the underlying value, that is Nifty. This is a slightly old chart, but I just wanted to explain the concept. If the index moves even by 140 points on the upside, agar Nifty even moves by 140 points, and if we have selected deep out of the money options, the returns will be minimal. You may be paying, आपने अगर छोटा capital premium देने के बाद, you may be getting good returns, but it is not worth the the risk that you are taking in the markets. This profitability, agar if you are able to gauge 140 point movement on the upside, you should be considering strike prices which are more closer towards the at the money strike price, rather than buying deep out of the money strike prices. So this chart basically illustrates that even if there is a 140 point movement, the deep out of the money call option moves just about by 20-25 points, while the at the money or slightly out of the money options move by approximately 60 to 70 points on the upside. So that's at least you're able to capture a sizable return. So now we have cleared the concept of delta. Delta is a very important concept in option trading. It is one of the most important option Greeks as well. Now moving to the next concept of implied volatility. So implied volatility is also another option component which gives the idea of option pricing. See, if the option is slightly on the higher side during normal course of time, it may be due to the IV, because whenever the volatility in the market increases significantly, the price of options also tend to increase because there is fear in the market. IV is basically telling you the implied volatility in the market, and how much the option price means there can be movement in the market. So whenever the volatility increases, जब भी market में volatility बढ़ता है, the IV for the options tend to increase. That is basically the option sellers are charging a higher premium for the risk they are taking. मतलब कभी भी volatility बढ़ता है, the option sellers also have a higher risk associated with them. It is not that they don't have a risk. So in order to compensate for the risk in the market, we have the option sellers which generally tend to charge a higher premium. So that is what basically pans out whenever the volatility increases. Now you will ask me how to identify if the volatility is on the higher side or the lower side. So there are two methods to identify whether the IV जो है, current IV जो है, it is on the higher side or the lower side. One is known as IV rank and the other is known as IV percentile. ये दो method है to identify whether the current IV जो implied volatility market का current scenario में है, whether it is on the higher side or on the relatively lower side. So even you can Google these two concepts. I'll explain it one by one, but anytime afterwards also you can Google about these two concepts, that is IV rank and IV percentile, to get a better understanding. See, one of the most simple methods to calculate the current IV of the market is Nifty current level is 24,400. That is the current level of the market. What you can basically do, absolute simple thing is you take the call option IV plus the put option IV and divide it by 2. Generally, it tends to be around 16, 17 levels is where the IV for weekly options is. If you take the monthly IV, it generally tends to be on the higher side. So generally between 14 to 18 is where the average IV generally tends to be, अगर निफ्टी के बारे में बात करें तो. And now if you see the IVs are suddenly at 30, 40 levels, that clearly gives you an indication that the markets are pricing in huge volatility from a near-term perspective, and that is why the option prices also tend to increase on the upside. So like I mentioned, there are two methods. दो मेथड है to determine whether the current IV जो है is on the higher side or on the lower side. The first method is IV rank. IV rank का फॉर्मूला ये है कि करंट IV माइनस द 52 वीक लो डिवाइडेड बाय 52 वीक हाई माइनस 52 वीक लो. So this is just from an example perspective I have taken to explain this concept. So suppose the current IV is 100 and the 52 week low for the IV is 30. That particular number divided by 52 week high minus 52 week low. So it is just a mathematical computation, and the scale is between 0 to 100. So if you get a high reading, it means that the IV at this particular time is on the higher side. अगर कोविड के टाइम पे या कोई भी जनरल इलेक्शन के टाइम पे अगर आप IV कैलकुलेट करोगे, it will definitely be on the higher side, closer towards 70, 80 levels. IV can generally tend to reach, because there are very few instances wherein the markets will be more volatile than these major events. So that is the IV rank part. The other method to calculate कि volatility market में जो है option pricing में जो volatility है, it is on the higher side or the lower side, is known as IV percentile. Percentile is again like how we calculate in CAT or any other method. We calculate with respect, we are comparing with respect to our colleagues. So now like you take a current number of days, so number of days where the current IV is number of days, so if you take, so it is basically number of days under the current IV, means the current volatility which is there, the IV, it is how many days there have been below this particular level divided by the total number of trading days. So if there are 200 days wherein the IV is below the particular figure, that the current value what we have, if on 200 occasions that particular number is below it, 200 divided by 250, that is the total number, you will get a IV value. So if it is on the higher side, you will get a high value. If it is on the lower side, you will get a low value. So 80% basically means on the higher side if you get a reading. So that basically means that there have been very few days wherein the IV has actually been below this particular trading figure. So that's how you calculate IV rank and IV percentile. So making use of IV to calculate the range as well. तो काफी सारे जो ऑप्शन ट्रेडर्स जो रहते हैं वो IV को लेके, that is the implied volatility को लेके, they gauge the range for the index from a short term perspective. So what you do is the current IV, suppose it is there, that is 0.2. So that divided by the total number of trading days in a year. Generally हम लोग मानते हैं कि around 252 trading days है in a particular year. If you minus Saturday, Sunday, the holiday days, it generally tends to be slightly lower, but the general formula that we tend to take is around 252 multiplied by the number of square root of the number of trading days left in this particular month. So if there are 13 trading days left in this particular month and current IV is 0.2, you will get a figure of 4.5%. If you calculate this particular formula, you will get a value of 4.5%. 4.5% is the expected monthly volatility in any particular direction. We are not telling which direction the market will move, but there is a chance of 4.5% movement in either direction in the index from the current levels. And this we can tell with a confidence level. इसका भी एक confidence level के साथ हम लोग बोल सकते हैं. That is with a confidence probability of 68%. So that's how this basic IV method is basically made use of. Wherein you tell with confidence level what can be the range of the market for a certain duration of time based on the pricing of the option. So generally जो option sellers जो रहते हैं, they make use of this particular formula and they gauge the range for the index and they consider to sell out of the money options, call side and put side based on the IV or at that particular time frame. So it's just a bit technical, but this is how traders make use of the volatility to gauge the particular range from a monthly perspective. So combining delta and IV, generally agar delta, if you can make use of delta and IV to combine and make strategies. Example is, this is just an example perspective. When the volatility is extremely high, it's not a normal situation, you can consider to sell at that time also a strike price which has a delta of 0.2. What it basically means that we are expecting the volatility in the market to come down. So there is a very good chance that the strike price जो आपने बेचा है, when the markets are extremely volatile and you expect that the volatility will contract, you sell an out of the money option at that particular point of time, because उस time पे भी when the volatility is extremely high, even a 0.2 delta will be having a very high option premium. We want to sell options when the option premiums are extremely high and we expect that the premiums will contract. That is the best scenario for an option seller, when the premiums are extremely high and suddenly the volatility contracts. That generally happens whenever we have an important meeting, जैसे कि RBI का monetary policy या Fed का कोई event, the market prices high option premium and suddenly जब ये event खत्म हो जाता है, the IVs tend to shrink. उसको हम लोग IV shrink भी बोलते हैं, wherein the option premium immediately comes down. And that's the best scenario for an option seller. So I'm just telling you a strategy wherein you can consider to do this. तभी आप देखोगे कि मार्केट में मूवमेंट भी भले आ जाए, the option premiums was so high that the movement in the market also cannot compensate the option buyer. Many times if you are an option buyer, आपने देखा रहेगा इवेंट आपके फेवर में जाता है, आपने सोचा रहेगा कि मार्केट पॉजिटिव जाएगा एक पर्टिकुलर मेजर इवेंट के बारे में, बट the option premium shrinks so fast at a rapid pace that it becomes extremely challenging to make money in these type of markets. So what are the high probability strategies? Generally अगर आप देखोगे, high probability strategies are generally on the selling side compared to the buying side, because the probability on option selling is generally 66%. So if you take the strategy such as a credit spread या फिर naked selling of put option या फिर एक iron condor strategy, these strategies generally tend to have a high probability. बट जो आपको कैपिटल जो भी मिलेगा ये पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड से, it will not be anything major rewarding. See, high probability does not guarantee high returns. It just means that number of times that you will be successful is on the higher side. So if you just take the example, currently markets are at 24,400. What is basic understanding of a credit spread strategy wherein you're selling? It is a credit spread strategy basically means you are selling an at the money put option and you are buying a slightly deeper in the money put option. तो आप 24,300 का पुट ऑप्शन बेच रहे हो एंड हेज करने के लिए आप 24,100 का पुट ऑप्शन बाई भी कर रहे हो. So in this particular strategy, the capital what you will receive is relatively less, and if you compare the risk reward and all, it will not be that favorable. A credit spread strategy generally does not tend to have a good risk reward, but the probability of success for this particular trade generally tends to be on the higher side. So just like I explained, we will be selling the 24,300 call option, and to hedge the particular trade you purchase the 24,100 put option. Why it is known as a credit strategy? Because you end up receiving premium. आप प्रीमियम भर नहीं रहे हो, आपको प्रीमियम आपके अकाउंट में आ जाता है. So it is not an outflow of capital, it is an inflow of capital to your account. That is why it is known as a credit spread bull strategy. Now coming towards higher reward strategies. Generally the higher reward strategies are directly buying call and put option. It is the most simplest one, as well as debit spread strategies. Generally अगर आपको carry forward करना है कोई भी trade को in the option segment, it is ideally done with a debit spread strategy. So the high probability, even though the probability of success is 30-40% when you are buying a call option, naked call option or put option, but your रिवॉर्ड कैन बी सिग्निफिकेंट. अगर आपके डायरेक्शन में मार्केट चला जाता है विद अ स्मॉल कैपिटल ऑल्सो यू कैन एंड अप मेकिंग लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ प्रॉफिट्स, बट दैट रिक्वायर्स अ डायरेक्शनल एज. मतलब आपको एक स्किल सेट रहना चाहिए आपके ट्रेडिंग सिस्टम में wherein you will be able to predict the direction of the market. So just take the scenario of, this is an example of Sensex. तो सेंसेक्स अगर आप चार्ट देखोगे, इट हैज गिवन अ ब्रेकआउट above its recent resistance levels. There is still a bit of resistance on the chart, but a trader who anticipates that there could be further continuation on the upside can consider to do a bull spread strategy in the index. This is based on the view of the trader. अगर उनको लग रहा है कि मोमेंटम अभी भी है मार्केट में, instead of directly just buying a naked call option or selling a put option, the strategy that the trader can consider is doing a bull spread strategy. What you basically do in a bull spread strategy is you basically are buying the slightly at the money call option, and we are selling a slightly away out of the money call option as well. दोनों सेम लेग के ही कर रहे हो, मतलब यू आर बाइंग द सेम एक्सपायरी. तो जो नेक्स्ट ट्यूसडे है, दैट इज 13th of this particular month is the next expiry. So what you basically do is, currently the index is around 80,600. So we buy the 80,800 call option slightly out of the money, and we sell 81,500 call option. This is to reduce the cost of the transaction as well as it is a strategy wherein you know your maximum profit and maximum loss. ये particular strategy में आपको पहले ही पता चल जाता है कि आपका मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट कितना है और आपका मैक्सिमम लॉस ये पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड में कितना रहेगा. It is a hedge strategy wherein by selling the out of the money call option you are locking in your profit and loss in this particular trade. So this is a very good strategy for traders who want to carry forward their position overnight. जब भी कोई इवेंट है, instead of just directly buying a naked call option or a naked put option, always consider to do bull spread या bear spread strategies. The probability is also good and the risk reward also is on the favorable side in these particular strategies. So this is the payoff diagram. जो same strategy जो मैंने explain किया था उसी का payoff diagram है, wherein the maximum profit is around 8,500. You will not be able to see the maximum profit because I have not taken all the way on the upside. I have just shown towards 81,200. उस लेवल पे क्या प्रॉफिट रहेगा, that is around 2,149 is the profit at 81,200. But as and when the markets go in your favor, the maximum profit is around 8,500 in this particular strategy and the maximum loss जो है if the trade goes against you, अगर नीचे के डायरेक्शन में मार्केट चला जाता है and the options don't yield you the desired result, the maximum loss जो है आपको ये particular strategy में that is 5,851. so ये maximum loss है and the maximum profit भी आपको पहले ही मालूम रहेगा based on the strategy that you are selecting. So जब भी आप spread strategy कर रहे हो या फिर कोई भी derivative में एक hedge strategy कर रहे हो, you always know what is going to be your maximum profit and maximum loss in that particular trade. So another concept of option trading is knowing the expected value. So expected value in options is the win percentage into the average win. मतलब आप कितने अगर 100 ट्रेड कर रहे हो, what is the win rate that you have? So suppose आपका win rate 60% है, 60% into the average win. हर एक ट्रेड में आप कितना कमा रहे हो माइनस दी लॉसेस. अगर मान लो 60% आपका सक्सेस रेट है तो 40% is your loss rate into the average loss. So that is what is your expected value that you get. And we should aim for a positive expected value over large number of trades, not just for one trade, 10 trades, 20 trades. जब भी आप ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो, think of it as a probability game. ये पूरा probability का ही गेम है. Don't think of trading as a one time event या फिर एक short term purpose के लिए. Think of it over a longer period of time. Think of protecting your capital, क्योंकि capital protect करना सबसे important है derivative trading में. And see that over a longer period of time you have a positive expected value. So like I mentioned, expected value अगर आपका positive है over a period of 100 to 200 trades, then definitely you have mastered the art of trading in the market and you could see positive results going forward as well. So that basically means that you have a good understanding of the market. आपका जो trading setup है वो अच्छा है and you are able to beat a majority of the traders at this particular game. Now coming to a very very important concept in probability and in terms of return on investment. ये slide जो है बहुत ही important है in terms of understanding the concept of probability of success, in terms of understanding the return on your investment. So I'll take a good amount of time at this particular slide. So the last value over there, it should not be 16,400. It is, I'll just explain. The markets are at 24,400 is where the current market is. Now suppose that a trader is expecting the markets to move towards 24,800 on the upside. That is the value that you expect. Either say 400 points आगे. So that is the next Tuesday, next Thursday is what you're expecting, that the markets can move towards 24,800 on the upside. So now let us break it into three scenarios because we have three strategies. You can buy in the money option, you can buy at the money option, and you can buy an out of the money option. So if you take the scenario that the जो trader है उसके पास 1 लाख का capital है. That is what the basic and simple understanding is, that the trader has 1 lakh capital available with him. he can buy the in the money call option. So to purchase an in the money call option, it is जो जिसका प्रीमियम है 24,200 ऑप्शन जो है 24,200, that becomes an in the money option. I hope everyone is clear with and following what I'm just explaining. If everyone is understanding, just put a thumbs up, so I just clearly know that you know the concept of in the money, at the money, and out of the money, because this is a very important slide in terms of return on investment, return on your capital. So 24,200 becomes your in the money strike price. With 1 lakh capital, if the option premium of 24,200 is 350 rupees, you will be able to purchase 3 call options. I hope you understand, because it is approximately 26,000 you will require to buy one lot of Nifty, which has an option premium of 350. So 350 into 75, that approximately comes closer towards 27,000. So you will only be able to buy 3 lots of Nifty, because if you go to buy 4 lots, it will exceed your capital of 1 lakh. So you cannot do that. So the capital that you actually use is around 76,000. I will be using that figure itself. I'll not be making use of 1 lakh as your base. I'll be making use of the actual capital that you have used for the particular trade to tell you what is going to be your return on investment. But you have 1 lakh, you can buy 3 lots of in the money call option. If we go to the at the money strike price, which has a premium of 100, that is 24,400 call option, we will be able to purchase 13 lots. So 75 into 100 into 13. So that comes to around, if you understand the capital which gets utilized, that's around 97,000 of capital gets utilized in this particular trade. So with 97,000, because you could not buy 14 lots. If you go to buy 14 lots, it will exceed your 1 lakh capital. It's an actual practical example that I'm trying to explain. So maximum we can buy is 13 lots of Nifty for at the money option, which has a premium of 100 rupees. Likewise, if you consider to buy an out of the money call option, the premium will be less. तो बहुत सारे जन जो रहते हैं, they feel happy that they are able to buy large quantity. मतलब number of lots that you can buy is on the higher side. So with 35 as the option premium, with 1 lakh capital at your disposal, you can buy 38 contracts of 24,700 call option. Because the premium is less, you are able to purchase 38 lots. So I hope this particular step is clear with everyone, understanding how many lot sizes, how many lots you can actually purchase with 1 lakh capital. It's not that you are able to completely deploy the 1 lakh capital. Sometimes we'll be utilizing 76,000, sometimes we'll be using 98,000. Sometimes in the last scenario, we are almost able to use 99,750. Itna capital hum log use kar pa rahe in the last scenario. That is when you're buying a out of the money option. Now let us take the various scenarios where the market actually moves in our favor. So markets are at 24,400 and actually there is a 400 point movement in the market. So if Nifty actually closes at 24,800 on the last day, then you will see that on the first scenario, you will end up with a profit of 56,000 in your account. So 56,000 would be your profit. In the second scenario, your profit would be 2,92,000, and in the last scenario, your profit will be 1,85,000. But if you divide 56,000 by the capital that you have actually utilized, so 78,000 is the capital that you have utilized, your return on investment is 71%. If you divide 2,92,000 divided by 97, जो आपने actual capital utilize किया है, that comes to 300%. And if you calculate for out of the money options, even though your the number of lots you were able to purchase was on the higher side, your return on investment is actually 185%. So this is a very important understanding of where your highest return of investment can be made. It is best made when you purchase at the money options rather than deep out of the money or deep in the money option. Deep in the money, it is better to directly buy a future and do trading. It is best to consider, if you're doing option scalping, it is best to select the at the money strike prices. So I hope everyone is clear with this particular slide. That particular figure where there is 16,400 mentioned, it is wrong. It should actually be 24,800. In the next line itself, it is mentioned 24,800, but one line above the figure is wrong. That is 24,800 should be the value. So now coming to some of the key concepts regarding the basic concepts when you're doing derivative trading. Position sizing is extremely important. Position sizing basically means how many lots you're buying and what is the maximum loss that you can take in a particular trade. So ये सबसे important concept है position sizing. Stop losses और hedge spread strategies जो हम लोग बोलते हैं, ये भी extremely important है. See, whenever you're trading in options, you have to maintain a stop loss. You cannot depend on luck or you just expect that the markets will come in your favor. That happens sometimes. See, now if you take the example that we are buying something at 100 and we maintain the stop loss at 70, 72. Sometimes the option premium will just come towards 60, 68 levels, trigger your stop loss and once again move on the upside. But the day we do not maintain the stop loss, we will be having major losses in our account. So always maintain a strict stop loss, be disciplined in trading. Trading requires a lot of mental skill. मतलब आपका mental discipline जितना strong रहेगा, उतना आपका chance of the surviving in the markets and making money in the long term. Do not think of this as a 1 month, 2 month experiment. It's a long term strategy that you have to develop, and you have to protect your capital while trading. So always maintain the appropriate risk reward when you're trading in the derivative segment. So some of the psychological things and consistency while trading in derivatives is never become overconfident when the trades go in your favor. There may be a bullish phase or bearish phase in the market when you feel that all your trades are going in the correct direction. So do not get overconfident and start placing larger size trades during that particular time. हमेशा be confident and trade with the optimal, मतलब the best lot sizes. When you are going correct, do not exponentially increase the position sizing, and when you are going wrong, do not drastically reduce it down. Continue to trade with the same figure or the same lot sizes, because that's when you will be having the appropriate returns over the longer period of time. So importance of discipline, very important. Emotional contract, it is very simple to tell emotions maintain करना trading में. I agree with everyone that it is one of the most challenging things. strategy कोई भी बना सकता है, लेकिन वो strategy को day in day out same तरीके से follow करना, वो एक challenging thing है, and that's where you are actually tested from a long term perspective. बिल्ड अ रिपीटेबल प्रोसेस. ऐसा एक प्रोसेस डेवलप करो जो आप रेगुलर बेसिस पे मार्केट पे अप्लाई कर सकते हो, ना कि इट इज़ अ वन टाइम इवेंट. मेंटेन दी मेट्रिक, जितना भी हो आप डॉक्यूमेंट करो आपके ट्रेड्स को. मेंटेन एन एक्सेल, व्हाई यू एंटर्ड अ पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड, व्हाई यू फेस्ड लॉसेस. So if you maintain a short term journal wherein you are explaining to yourself why you have taken a trade, what was the reason for the stop loss, what is the risk reward that I am expecting in that particular trade, this particular journal is a very important thing. हम लोग हमेशा maintain करते हैं हमारे side पे, so that if you analyze 1 month's data or 2 months data, if the month goes bad, you basically know that what are the mistakes that you have done while trading in the market. So understanding the basic mistakes is also extremely important. अगर आपको mistakes ही नहीं मालूम है कि आप लोग गलत किधर जा रहे हो, then it becomes difficult to correct. In a bullish phase, everyone is good, everyone is understanding and is understanding the market. It is not because of your skill, it is the market itself is playing out so well that majority of the trades go in your favor. It is actually when the markets go into a consolidation phase, या फिर जब भी प्रेशर रहता है wherein false breakouts start coming, then you start questioning your trading decisions. That's when the actual challenge comes in the market. So do maintain a trading journal, कितना भी हो सके आप एक एटलीस्ट एक बेसिक एक्सेल में फॉर्मेट में मेंटेन करो. डे बाय डे वॉट एवर ट्रेड्स दैट यू टेक, मेंटेन अ रिकॉर्ड कि आपने क्यों एक पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड लिया है एंड व्हाट इज द आउटकम ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड. These are the basic things which I have always been highlighting in all our slides. Always maintain a stop loss when you're trading in derivatives. जब भी मार्केट एक्सेसिवली वॉलेटाइल हो जाता है उस टाइम पे आप लिवरेज को ड्रास्टिकली रिड्यूस कर दो. Do not go excessively high on leverage when the markets are extremely volatile. And the last thing is hedge strategies, जो spreads हम लोग बोलते हैं, bull spread, bear spread. या फिर एक आयन कॉन्डोर, जिसमें आपको पहले ही मालूम है कि आपका मैक्सिमम लॉस कितना है और आपका मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट कितना है. These are the strategies that you should be considering in the market. Whenever you're doing carry forward trades, अगर आप इंट्राडे कर रहे हो तो फिर भी आप नेकेड कॉल एंड पुट ऑप्शन बाय कर सकते हो, बिकॉज यू आर ऑलवेज मोर और लेस मॉनिटरिंग योर पोजीशन. आप स्क्रीन के सामने हो, कोई भी बैड आउटकम भी आ जाता है, आप कभी भी आपका पोजीशन क्लोज आउट कर सकते हो. बट इफ यू टेक अ नेकेड कॉल ऑप्शन और अ पुट ऑप्शन एंड यू कैरी फॉरवर्ड इट, एंड देर इज ओवरनाइट कुछ मेजर ड्रास्टिक अनाउंसमेंट आ जाता है, देर इज नथिंग यू कैन डू. मतलब अगले दिन खुलने पे द मार्केट्स will be very challenging. So even if you're doing that, consider to do that in deep out of the money options, wherein the probability is less, but आपका जो capital जो भी जाएगा वो भी कम ही है. If never go to do naked call and put options overnight, it's a very challenging thing to do, unless the markets are in a clear one directional phase, wherein you expect that the next day also there could be a strong positive opening for the market. Yeah, that's an end of today's session. Thank you so much to all our friends for having taken the time out. कल भी मेरे कलीग अश्विन का एक सेशन है डेरिवेटिव्स में, टेक्निकल्स में, wherein we'll be explaining various concepts. So please take your time out tomorrow as well. So anything what you want to learn, if you have suggestions from your end as well, कोई भी topic के ऊपर, please do write it to us. We'll be more than happy to take these sessions for you all. Please do note that all the sessions are free of cost. There is no cost associated with any of our sessions. And I hope I was able to convey the concepts in a very simple manner. Even though some of the concepts are a bit challenging, especially the IV percentile, IV rank, IV in terms of range for the market. These are some of the challenging things, but that's how it is. You cannot break it down even further. But if you gradually day in day out keep on reading about these concepts wherever you get the opportunity, in a phase of a particular time, you will have very good grasp over the derivative market, and at least have a knowledge where you should do option buying, option selling, and what is the best strategies which work best for you based on the market. So thank you so much to all our friends for having taken the time out. Now we can start with the Q&A session. If anyone has any questions regarding the topic itself, please, I request to keep your questions towards the topic itself. So if you have any questions, we can take the Q&A at present. Thank you. If there is any concept that you feel you want me to explain again, I can quickly brush through the concept once again. If there are no questions, I'll be happy that everyone who has attended the session has been able to grasp all the concepts. I'll be more than happy. But if you have any questions, do please ask. So I would thank all our friends who have thanked us as well. So Siddharth Malik constantly attends all our webinars. Thank you so much for your positive feedback. You have been constantly always attending our webinars. So thank you so much for attending. So there is, I do not know if it's a question or not, risk reward and market consolidation. Yes, this is a very challenging this is a very challenging phase for the market, wherein we do not know the trend which will continue, or it can markets can go into consolidation phase. The one way to play it out is based on levels, wherein you make predefined levels. Like currently markets are at 24,400. Till the time 24,200 or 24,100 is not broken down on the downside, we should expect the positive momentum to continue. And any major breakout about 24,600, we should expect the uptrend to continue towards 24,800, followed by 25,200 on the upside. So it's a range bound market at present. Last 2-3 days have been a bit challenging, especially Friday's trading session, wherein we got a clean breakout and that breakout completely fizzled out. So that's a challenging phase for the market. There's nothing we can also do at our end, but play it out in terms of levels. There is a good chance. So how can we find the range using IV? Okay, I'll just explain that concept. So this is the slide which we use to identify the range for the market using IV. So IV, first you have to identify using the at the money. There are many methods to identify IV. The absolute basic simple method is which the level at which the markets are currently trading at. Suppose 24,400. You can take the 24,400 call option ka IV and take 24,400 put option ka IV. Whatever figure you add it up, divide by 2. So now in this particular scenario, suppose the value is 0.2 is the value. Then it is in percentage terms. So do note, so that particular value. So then you divide it by 252, which is the number of trading days in a year, and you multiply it by the square root of number of days left for the particular month. एक particular month में कितने trading days है, you have to identify, and then you multiply it by the square root of that. So suppose there are 13 trading days left in this particular month, we will get a value of 4.5%. So 4.5%, basically it means that Nifty will not move by 4.5% either on the upside or on the downside within this particular month based on the current IV values. IV कभी भी change हो सकता है, ये एक dynamic value है. It does not mean that the IV will remain consistent, but at that point of time when you are doing the calculation, the IV is 0.2, and it basically means that Nifty can move by 4.5% on the upside or 4.5% on the downside in the next 13 trading days in that particular month. So if there are 22 trading days left in the month, you will be multiplying it by the square root of 22. So I hope everyone is able to understand. Yeah, so Siddharth Malik has given feedback regarding rollover data. Yes, that definitely is there, Siddharth. In the next, by tomorrow itself, I presume, or in the next 2 trading days, we'll be having a session every day, wherein my colleague Ashwin will be taking the session, mid market session. It will be mostly in the mid market during live markets itself, wherein we'll be taking all the data, means whatever is our expectation based on the current expiries, what is the data basically telling us. Also sessions on rollover, if the suggestion is there specifically for rollover data, we'll be doing that also. So there is a question, which is a more profitable strategy option, buy or sell. See, there is no clear answer to this. The profitable in terms of absolute probability, option selling has higher probability of success, because option selling mein probability of success is 66%. But there is higher risk also associated with option selling compared to option buying. एंड जो मार्जिन भी जो आपको लगता है ऑप्शन सेलिंग में, इट इज ऑन द हायर साइड कंपेयर टू ऑप्शन बाइंग. So when you combine everything, you cannot just be combining, means checking out the probability of success. You have to combine the risk that you are taking, the profitability of the trade, the margin associated with the trade. So when you combine all these things, it actually balances out. There are certain scenarios in the market जब ये option selling profitable है, but it is where there are certain scenarios wherein option buying is profitable, but there is no clear answer which will anyone will be able to tell you that this it depends on the confidence of the trader. It depends what he is comfortable with. कोई जन option selling में comfortable रहते हैं, कोई जन option buying में comfortable रहते हैं. If you have a good skill set in identifying the trend of the market, then option buying is a good strategy for you, because at the initial stage it is better to be on the option buying side rather than the option selling side. Yes. The answer is correct. What you mean by 68% is one standard deviation. As and when the standard deviations increase, the confidence level, it is with confidence level of 68% that we are telling that the markets may remain in a range of 44.5%. That's also a very important point, which Murthy sir has suggested, that it is based on the confidence intervals that we are able to predict. It's all maths. It's not a complete 100% thing that we can predict that Nifty will remain in that particular range. It is just that with that particular confidence level that we are stating the same. So this is the basic formula. I'll just take it. So there is a question how to find the IV ratio. There is nothing known as IV ratio. We have IV rank and IV percentile. These are the two concepts which often are discussed in derivative trading. IV rank and IV percentile. You can just take the photo of this, or even you can Google it out at any point of time. What is meant by IV rank and what is meant by IV percentile. So this basically gives you an idea of how volatile the markets are at the current scenario compared to past data or past trading days. So whenever the volatility increases, we'll be having a high IV rank and a high IV percentile. Yeah, so that's an end of today's session. Thank you so much to all our friends for having taken the time out and having attended the session today. I hope I was able to explain the concepts in a simple manner. We'll be having a lot of webinars in this particular month. In fact, this month we have a total of 8 webinars in technical and derivatives. Today is just the start. We have the first webinar. In the entire month, we have total 8 webinars. Along with that, we have sessions which are there during the month as well. During the day as well. So anyone who has any suggestions regarding any topics will be more than happy. Please do take the time out and attend the sessions. It's all for your benefit as well. We also feel more than happy to take these sessions. Thank you once again. Thank you.